Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the new lecture on pharmaceutics, the dosage form science. I am Shoaib Muhammad, lecturer in the Department of Pharmaceutics, Faculty of Pharmacy, University of Sindh. In this lecture, we will be discussing about the pharmaceutical calculations. So this is the outline of the lecture. Firstly, we will be having the introduction of the pharmaceutical calculations. Then we will be discussing the numbers, its different types, the numericals and its different types, the ratio, the proportion, and finally we will be concluding our lecture. The use of the pharmaceutical calculations in pharmacy is not limited, but actually is a broad based use. Uh, the pharmacist can use the pharmaceutical calculations in a traditional way. For example, if a pharmacist is working in a dispensing area, so to increase a dose or to decrease a dose, or similarly into the clinical pharmacy area, when the pharmacist has to adjust the dose according to the age of the patient or the weight of the patients. Of course, there is involvement of the calculations, and there is also use of the pharmaceutical calculations into the specialized fields, like when the pharmacist is working as a supervisor into the pharmaceutical industry, and the manufacturing of the various batches of the pharmaceutical products are carried out into the industry. The pharmacist may also be using the pharmaceutical calculations into the research area, in which for the calculation of the formulas, for enlarging the formulas or enlarging the batch size, the pharmacist can use various types of the calculations. In the academia, there is use of the pharmaceutical calculations, and into the government sector there are various responsibilities or the assignment assigned to the pharmacist, for which there is very important use of the pharmaceutical calculations. If we further elaborate, the pharmaceutical calculations that are used by the pharmacist may include the chemical and physical properties of drug substances and pharmaceutical ingredients. There are various formulas or various calculations by which we can determine the chemical characteristic of the drug. We can determine the physical properties of the drugs, and after the determinations and further calculations, the specific quantity of that ingredient or a chemical substance can be used into the manufacturing of the pharmaceutical products. The calculations may also be involved into the biological activity, to calculate that how much a drug substance is active. For the calculation of the drug absorption, there are various formulas available for the calculation of the drug absorption. How much of the drug has distributed throughout the body, how much metabolism is carried out, and how much of the drug has been excreted out from the body. These all can be done through calculations. There are specific methods that are available, that are used or available for the calculations of the absorption, distribution, metabolism, and the distribution of the drugs. And without the use of those calculations and the formulas, the determination of the biological activity of the drug will be impossible. The pharmaceutical calculations are also used in the statistical data for the basic research, or into the clinical drug studies. For example, we want to determine the effect of drug onto the control of the blood pressure. So we will collect a sample, then we will determine the blood pressures, and then we will use different statistical methods, the averages, the percentages, the fractions, or different statistical tests for the determination whether the drug is affecting the blood pressure or not. We can also use them into the clinical drug studies when we are trying to use a new drug. So we will determine whether the drug was effective on how much of the patients, in which and how much of the patients the drug was causing the adverse effect, what was their absorption level, what was its metabolism in different populations of the uh, in which the drug was used. So in these areas, the again the pharmaceutical preparations can be used. not only in these areas but into the development of the new drug. When we are trying to design a new drug, we are trying to develop a new drug or formulate a new drug, again we need calculations to make the proper quantities of the drug, to determine whether how much of the tablets will be manufactured from the size of the batch, to determine how much of the bottles will be made from this size of the batch. If you want to increase the size of the batch, then what consideration should be made to increase the size of the batch. Then we have some common uses of the pharmaceutical calculations, like if we are giving a prescription, or we are filling a medication order. So how much of the medication should be given, how much number of the of the tablets or capsules should be given, how it should be designed, whether it should be given 2 times a day or 3 times a day, whether it should be given for a 1 week, whether it should be given for a 1 month. So this all involves calculation, and proper dosage will increase the compliance of the patient. If we are giving a proper number of the tablets to the patient, it will be more easier for the patient to take the drug. If it is more easier for the patient to take the drug, there will be more effectiveness of the drug. Lastly, there is the field of economics. In the field of economics, we determine that which of the regimen or which of the drug which will be most economic or cost effective to the patient. So it is a whole area of the economics related to the drugs, in which we calculate that which of the drugs or which of the regimens will be more cost effective to the patient. Now, before going to the further details of the pharmaceutical calculations, we must have the concept of the numbers and the numericals. Now, a number is a total quantity or amount of units, like 3 tablets, 6 tablets, or 48 tablets. Now, by words, we can say 3, 6, or 48. But how we will write it, how we will represent it when we are writing onto the paper? Okay, there will be a specific sign for it, or there may be a specific word for it, or maybe there may be a group of the words, or group of the signs, or a group of the letters that will represent that quantity. Now, a word or sign or group of words or signs that expresses a number is called as a numerical. Now again, for example, 3, 6, and 48 are Arabic numericals. Okay, 3 is a, we can say, a single sign, 6 is a single sign, and 48 includes two signs, a sign of 4 and a sign of 8. However, these three represent different quantities. Now, 3 means 1 unit is 3 times, 6 mean a unit or a tablet is 6 times, and 4 and 8, 40, that is 48, represent as unit is for 48 times. Now, if you go into the details of the numbers can be divided into three kinds. A natural number or a whole number is a complete number, for example 549. Now it's a whole or complete number. The next type is a fraction, that is basically a subdivision of the whole number, like 3 upon 4 or 1 upon 2. The 1 upon 2 represents about half of the quantity. Then third is the a mixed number, that consists of a whole number plus a fraction, like 3 into 3 by 4. The numbers can be further classified into abstract or pure number, and concrete or denominate number. A number such as 4, 8, or 12, taken by itself without any application of unit of measurement, is called abstract or pure number. That means there is no any kind of the unit addition of the unit into it, like ml, millimeter, decimeter, or liters. There is no any addition of these units into abstract or pure numbers. The property of the abstract or pure number is that they can be added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided by any other abstract number. The result of any of these operations is always an abstract number designating a new total number of units. Now, for examples, if we multiply 8 by 4, the result will be 32. That will indicate 32 units. And now if we have obtained the number of 32, now that's again without any unit. A concrete or denominate number always come along with a unit of measurement, like 4 grams, 8 milliliters, or 12 ounces. Now these will designate the total quantity of whatever has been measured. Now for example, if we are having or weighing a substance, its weight may be taken as maybe grams or into the we say the kilograms. So the weight may be 4 grams or 4 kilograms. A unit of measurement is along with the quantity. If we are measuring a liquid, the quantity will be, for example, 8 milliliters or 8 liters. A unit of measurement will be along with the number. Now, if we talk about the calculations of the concrete or denominate numbers, we can add or subtract the denominate number from any other number of same denomination. Like we can add or subtract 4 grams from 4 grams, or 4 grams from 2 grams. We can add 4 grams into 2 grams, or we can subtract 4 grams from we can subtract 2 grams from the 4 grams. But if we are doing the calculations of the multiplication or the division, the concrete number should always be multiplied or divided by a pure number. Now, why this is so, we will explain it into the next slide. While we are doing these type of the calculation, even the subtraction or multiplication or division or the addition, the unit of unit of the measurement of the resultant number will be the same as the denominant number. Now, here are some examples that will further elaborate the concrete or denominate number. The first example is about the addition, in which 10 grams have been added with 5 grams and the result is the 15 grams. Now here you see the first value is also with a unit or a denominate. The second value is also with a unit of measurement or a denominate, and the resultant quantity is also along with the same unit of measurement. The second example is of subtraction, in which the first value is 10 milliliters, the second value is 5 milliliters that has been subtracted from the first value, and the result is the 5 milliliters. Same is happening over here, that the first two values are along with the unit of measurement and the resultant values is also been attained with the same unit of measurement. The third example is of 12 ounce plus 3 ounce and the resultant values is 15 ounce, that is with the same denomination. This example is of multiplication, in which 300 millimeter have been multiplied by 2 and the resultant value is 600 millimeter. Now here you see the first value is a concrete or denominate number, while the second value is a pure number, while the resultant value is again a denominate number. Now here, why don't we multiply a denominate number with a denominate number? Because if we multiply a denominate number with a denominate number, eventually the units of measurement will also multiply with each other. And here the result obtained will be 600 millimeter square, which is actually the unit of area. And here we are multiplying the length of a material, not multiplying the area of the material. So we want to obtain the same unit of measurement, so the second value from to which we are multiplying with be a pure number, not a concrete or denominate number. Next is the numerical. As earlier discussed, a numerical is a word or sign or group of words or signs expressing a number. Now, there are two ways of representation of numerical. Number one is the Arabic numerical, like writing 1, 2, 3 by these signs, and Roman numerical, in which we can write 1 with capital or small I, 5 with a capital or small v, and 10 with a capital or small x. The Arabic numbers are so called as the Arabic system of notation, and they are properly called as a decimal system. They represent a number with only 10 figures, 0 and 9 digits, that include the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 0. And any number can be expressed by indigenous system in which different values are assigned to digits according to the place they occupy in a row. That means by simple arrangements of these Arabic numericals, different numbers can be formed. The center place in the row is usually identified by a sign placed to its right, called as the decimal point. Now, the decimal point will further identify the value of a number. In Arabic numericals, the former value of a digit is increased tenfold each time as the decimal moves one place to the left, and conversely its value is one-tenth of its preceding value each time the decimal moves one place to the right. Like moving decimal to left, it will be ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and millions. While moving decimal to the right, it will be tenth, hundredth, thousandth, 10,000s, 100,000s, and millionth part. So in a Arabic system, the total value of any number is expressed by the sum of the values of digits as determined by their position. That means the position of a digit in a Arabic number will determine its value. Like for example, we have 5083.623. Now here the first digit 5 represent the thousands, or this is the 5000. The second digit in this value is 0. Now 0 is representing the hundreds, so in this value there are 0 hundreds. The third digit is representing the tens, so in this value there are 8 tens. The fourth digit in this value is 3, that is representing the 3 ones. The fifth value is after the decimal, so as we said, we move toward the left, we are decreasing the values. So 6 is the tens. The next value is 2, which is the hundreds. The last digit is 3, that is the thousandth. The next type of the numerical is the Roman numerical. The Roman numerical numbering system began in around 500 before Christ. It was used in ancient Rome and Europe until around 900 AD, when the Arabic numbering system came into general use, and afterwards the Roman numbering system use were decreased. The Roman system of notation expresses a fairly large range of numbers by use of few letters of the alphabet. This system only uses a few number of alphabets, and by that use of those alphabets, a large numbers can be expressed. The Roman numericals merely record quantities. They are not used in kind of the computations or calculations. So they just represent a number, or they are used in recording the numbers, but they are not used in addition, subtraction, division, or the multiplication processes. To express in the Roman system, 8 letters of fixed values are used. There are different 8 alphabets that are used for expressing the different quantities, but there is no letter for representing the digit 0. The letters that are with fixed values into the Roman numerical system include double S, that represents half, capital R small I, that represent 1, capital R small V for 5, capital R small X for 10, capital R small L for 50, capital R small C for 100, capital R small D for 500, and capital R small M for 1000. In Roman numericals, the other quantities can be expressed by combining these letters. Now there are 4 rules for combining these letters to express different values. Rule number 1 is a letter repeated once or more repeats its value. That means X, for example, represents 10. If it is for 2 times, it will represent 20. If it is for 3 times, it will represent the value of 30. Rule number 2 is one or more letters placed after a letter of greater value increases the value of greater letter. Now the VI here, the V represents the 5 and I represents 1. Now as I is after V, so it will increase the value of 5. So 5 plus 1 will be is equal to 6. So VI represents 6. The next example is XII. Here the X represents 10, I represents 1, and as there are 2 I's, so there is value of 2. So if we plus 10 plus 2, so the value will be 12. The next example is LX. Here the L represents 50 and X represents 10. Now as the smaller symbol is after the larger symbol, so it will add up into the larger value, and the sum up is the 60. The next rule is a letter placed before a letter of greater value decreases the value of the greater letter. Now here there is a representation into the examples of IV. Now here I represents 1 and V represents 4. Now as I is before the value of V, so it will be deducted from V, the representing value will be 4. The next example is XL. Now X is smaller than L, X represents 10 and L represents 50. So if we minus 50, if we minus 10 from 50, the resultant value will be 40. So XL is representing 40. The next example is the CM. Now here the M represents 1000 and C represents 100. Now as C is a smaller value, it will be deducted from the larger value and the resultant value will be 900. Rule number 4 is a bar placed above a letter or letters increases the value by 1000 times. Now, for example, XV represents 15 while XV bar represents 15,000. Now here are the further examples of the Roman numerical. The first example is XXX. Now here the value of x is 10, and as the x repeats for 3 times, it will be equal to 3. The next value is CXI. Here the C represents 100, X represents 10, and I represents 1. So 100 plus 10 plus 1 will be equal to 111. The third value is the LXXXVIII. Here the L represents 50, the triple X represents 30, the 5 represents, the V represents 5, and the 3 times repetition of I represents the 3. So 50 plus 30 plus 5 and plus 3 is equal to 88. Next value is the XCIX. Now here, as the first X is before a larger value, that is C is 100 and X is 10. So 100 minus 10 will be is equal to 90. The next value is I, and then again the I is before the value of larger value of 10, so it will be deducted from the 10, it will be 9, so it will be 90 plus 9 is equal to 99. The third value is the DL. Here the D represents the 500 and L represents the 50, so both values will be simply added up, it will make 550. The last example is the XCIV. Here the X is a smaller value that is before the larger value, that is C is equal to 100, so it will be deducted from 100, the value will be 90. In the next we have IV, so I is a smaller value that will be deducted from the larger value of 5, it will be 4, so the total value will be 94. Here it should be noted that for writing the dates through the Roman numericals, they are customarily expressed in capital letters, while the normal values can be represented with the small letters. The use of the Roman numericals in pharmacy is occasional, like they can be used to designate the number of dosage units prescribed, like capsules number C represents the 100 capsules, so rather than writing 100, we can write capsule number C for representing 100 capsules. They can be used to indicate the quantity of medication to be administered. For example, teaspoons full II, that I, 2I are representing the 2 teaspoons full, and in rare instances it can also be used for representing the values into the measurements, like if we are using a common system or apothecary system, so we can also again use the Roman numericals like grains 4. Here is the example. Here are the further examples of the Roman numerical, and the different approaches to write down the conversion of the Roman numericals has been represented here. So the first question is, write the following in Roman numericals. Write 28 and 37 in the Roman numericals. So firstly, 28, so it has two tens and 8, the value of 8. So for 20 we can write XX. For the rest of the value is 8, that into the larger value of 5, so we will write V, and the remaining value is 3, that can be represented by III. So 28 will be is equal to XXVIII. The next value is 37. In 37, so we have in 37 we have 3 tens that can be represented by 3 x's. The rest of the value is 7. In 7, the larger value of 5 can be represented with V, and the rest there will be value of 2 that can be represented by I. So the 37 into the Roman can be written as XXXVIII. Then we have the next question. Interpret the quantity in each of these phrases taken from the prescription. The first phrase is capsule number XLV. So over here, X represents 10, L represents 50. So as X is before a larger value, so 50 minus 10, it will be 40, and V represents 5, so 40 plus 5 will be equal to 45. The next is the drops II. Now I represents 1, there are 2 I, so there will be drops 2. The next question is the write the following in Arabic numericals. So the first value is XLI. Now over here is the X is a smaller value and L is a larger value. L represents 50, X represents 10, so it will be 40, and the I is a smaller value, that is after the larger value it represents 1, so it will be 41. The next value is the CL. Now here C represents 100 and L represents 50, so 100 plus 50 will be equal to 150. Now here are the further practice problems for the students that can be performed by themselves. Next, for the discussion, we have ratio and proportion. So firstly, what is ratio? The relative magnitude of two quantities is called their ratio. That means if we have two quantities, what will be the magnitude of these quantities? Now, since a ratio relates the relative value of two numbers, it resembles a common fraction except in the way in which it is presented. Now, the ratios are similar to the fractions, as we represent a quantity of 1 upon 2, that is the shows the half. So it is similar to the fraction, but we are representing it in a different manner. So in the ratios, we are representing the quantities by placing a colon in between the two quantities, as we were mentioning the quantities by 1 upon 2 of that was representing a half. So into the ratio we will represent it 1 colon 2, but not it is not will be read as 1 upon 2, it will be read as 1 is to 2. Now all the rules governing the common fractions equally apply to a ratio. Whatever the rules of multiplication or divisions that are applied to the fractions, same rules will be applied to the ratio as well. Of particular importance is the principle that if two terms of a ratio are multiplied or divided by the same number, the value is unchanged, the value being the quotient of the first term divided by the second. Now, for example, we have a value of 2 upon 4. Now, if we divide this value by 2, the quantity will be 1 upon 2. Even if we multiply it by 2, the quantity will be 4 upon 8. But if you see the value of 1 upon 2, 2 upon 4, and 4 upon 8 is same. So similarly, if we are having a ratio of 1 is to 2, if we multiply it by 2 or if we divide it by 2, the resultant value will be same. We have another example of ratio over here. For example, we have a ratio of 20 is to 4 that can be also written as 20 upon 4. Now 20 is to 4 or 20 upon 4 has a value of 5. For example, if we are dividing the value of 20 is to 4 by 2, the resultant value will be 10 is to 2 or it will be 10 upon 2. Now again the value of 10 is to 2 or 10 upon 2 is equal to 5. Even again if we divide it by 2, the value will be 5 upon 1 or 5 is to 1. the resultant value is again 5. So if we divide a ratio or we multiply a ratio, the resultant value will be the same. The terms of a ratio will be of same kind. For the value of a ratio is an abstract number expressing how many times greater or smaller the first term is than the second term. Now in the ratios, if the first value is an abstract number, the second value should also be an abstract number. If the first value is a concrete number, the second value should also be a concrete number, while the first value will be showing that whether it is greater or smaller than the second value. So if we are having the abstract number, we can write the ratios as 20 is to 4 or 20 upon 4, or if we have the concrete number or we say the denominator number, we will use the unit of measurement along with the abstract number, and it will be 20 grams is to 4 grams or 20 grams by 4 grams. So now what is proportion? A proportion is the expression of the equality of two ratios. Now when we were discussing about the ratios, we said it represents that whether the first value is greater than or equal to the second values. In proportion, we express that the first ratio is equal to the second ratio. Now, the proportion can be written in three standard forms. Number one is the written as A colon B is equal to C colon D. Number two is A colon B double colon C colon D. And the third way of writing it is A upon B is equal to C upon D. However, these are written in these three forms, but they will be always be read as A is to B as C is to D. Now over here, the values that are present at the ends, that is the A and D, are called the extremes or the outer numbers. The values that are at the middle as B and C are called the means or the middle numbers. Now in any of the proportion, the product of extremes is equal to the product of means. So if we multiply the extreme values like A and D, we can that will be equal to B into C. Now this principle can help in finding out any of the missing proportion if the other three proportions are known. So if the missing term is a mean, for example the B or C is missing, it can be the product of the extremes. We will multiply the extreme values and divide it by the given mean. If the missing term is an extreme, it will be the product of means divided by the given extreme. Now this phenomenon is further elaborated into the next slide. Now using this information, we may derive the following equations to know the unknown component. Now if A upon B is equal to C upon D, then A will be equal to B into C divided by D, B will be equal to A into D divided by C, C will be equal to A into D divided by B, and D will be equal to B into C divided by A. Here we have an example of determination of the unknown quantity of a proportion. Now, if 3 tablets contain 975 milligrams of aspirin, how many milligrams should be contained in 12 tablets? So that means 3 tablets contain 975 milligrams. So as per formula, we will put this value on one side. So 3 tablets divided by 975 milligrams. So 3 tablets contain 975 milligrams equal to 12 tablets contain how many of the milligrams? So 12 upon x. Now if we cross multiply it, put the value of x on other side, take the 3 on other side and 975 on to the other side. So it will be x will be equal to 917 into 12 divided by 3, and the resultant value will be 390 milligrams. So 12 tablets will contain 3900 milligrams of the drug. Example number 2 is, if an insulin injection contains 100 units of insulin in each milliliter, how many milliliters should be injected to receive 40 units of insulin? So in the first proportion of the equation, we will place that 1 ml contains 100 units. So 1 upon 100, that will be equal to how many ml required for 40 units. So that it will be x upon 40. If we take the 40 onto the other side of equation, so the x will be equal to 1 is to 40 divided by 100. So the value of the x will be 0.4 ml. So zero point 0.4 ml of the insulin injection will contain 40 units of insulin. In the next example, we have digoxin pediatric elixir contains 0.05 milligram of digoxin in each ml of elixir. So how many milligrams of digoxin would be administered with a dose of 0.6 ml? Now the 1 ml of digoxin elixir contains 0.05 milligrams. So we will put it onto the one side of the equation, that is 1 upon 0.05. Now that will be equal to how many milligrams of digoxin would be administered with a dose of 0.6 ml. So 0.6 ml will contain how many of the milligram? So it will be, we will write it as 0.6 divided by x. If we adjust the values on one side and x onto the other side, so x will be equal to 0.05 into 0.6 divided by 1. So the value of x will be is equal to 0.03 milligram. So 0.6 ml of the digoxin elixir will contain 0.03 milligram of digoxin. So on this slide there are practice problems to be performed by the students. There are certain further practice problems for the students. So currently this is all for pharmaceutical calculations. Thank you very much for your time.